Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. We're going to do some zombie makeup. So first, I'm going to take some Elmer's glue and I'm going to lay down my eyebrows. Next, I'm taking some translucent powder and I'm just putting it over my eyebrows and to make sure that they're nice and flat and that the glue doesn't stick through, to make it a lot easier for me to paint over. I'm going to now brush off the powder, and now I'm going to start adding some concealer. Now I use drugstore concealer just because it's a little cheaper, and I don't want to use my good makeup for this because this is something that's not supposed to be pretty. So I've buffed that out. Now I'm going to use another drugstore eyeshadow palette that I purchased, and I'm just going to start darkening my eyes. So I'm using the brown color first. I'm going to start darkening around my eyes and contouring all the areas that I want to be prominent around my nose. And I'm going to do my forehead, on the sides of my cheeks, and just try to get those areas as darkened and sunken in as possible. Just working all of that in. I'm going to do the sides of my forehead now. Let's see. Yep, so I'm just going around all throughout my head, just making sure that I get all the areas nice and darkened in. My cupid's bow, sides of my mouth, under my lip, just all the areas where I really want it to stick out more. And now I'm going down to my neck and my chest, just to cover all those areas too, just so I can look as undead as possible. You want to make sure that you really cover those areas so that your bones can look pretty prominent. Go behind your neck because you want to look as, like I said, dead as possible, and you don't want to have any areas that look healthy, if that makes any sense. So now I'm going to use the darker, like the black color in that same palette, and I'm going to go back over all those areas that I just went over with the brown. The darker it is, the more sunken in it'll look, especially in photos. And this doesn't have to be neat. It just needs to be placed in the areas that you need it to go. And I like to lay all of this stuff down and make sure that it's well placed before I start to lay down the liquid latex, which I'll do in a few minutes. So now I'm going to take just a little bit of red to try to, in essence, brighten up, but not really brighten up, but give it a little bit of more contour, more of a concave look in those areas. because I want to look bruised and I want to look like my skin is rotting. So now I'm going to take the liquid latex and I'm going to take a disposable applicator brush and I'm just going to start applying the liquid latex in certain areas of my face. I'm going to take some toilet paper and I'm going to, since it's 2-ply, I'm going to split it in two and then tear small pieces off and then just lay it on top of the latex because I want to have that textured um, lifted skin look. So I just lay latex on top of it and I just keep adding on to it to build up on it rather. So I'll just keep building and building and building. And now I'm going to work on the other side. I think I'll give myself about 4 wounds. And the key to this is you want to make sure that this is nice and dry before you start to play with it so that it doesn't get messed up or be too runny when you put your makeup over it. You want to make sure it's nice and dry. Just layering on that liquid latex. Stuff gets really sticky, so and it's kind of watery when you first use it, so just be careful not to get any on your clothes because it can be a little bit of a burden to get out of your clothes. So right now I just took some paper and I just kind of folded it on top of each other just because I want that area of my face once the liquid latex dries to be pretty bulgy. Now I'm going to take some more black while that's drying, and that's out of a Kat Von D palette. Going to take some of the black eyeshadow and just go back over areas to darken it up a little bit more. Because like I said, when I take photos, I really want it to show and I want it to be pretty prominent and sunken in. Once I add my special effects, it'll really come out, but at least if I lay down the foundation, then that works out well. So now I'm taking my bruise wheel and I'm starting to add the different colors to make my skin around my eyes and around the wounds once the latex dries. I want it to look rotten in a sense and bruised. So adding the green and then I'm going to add some yellow. Because the more sunken in it looks, the better. I'm just working those colors in. Now I'm going to take a darker shade. It's more of a brown color, and I'm going to mix it in with the green to give it that bruise effect. And it's starting to come together. Now I'm going to give myself a few veins because there's no zombie with nice skin. I need to look as infected as possible because I am infected. Now the latex is nice and dry, so now I'm going to start poking holes in it so I can make my wounds. So you can take a tweezer or very carefully use some scissors if you want to try to get into certain areas and kind of just tear those areas up. And now I'm going to start coloring them in with my bruise wheel. So I'm going to take the black first, and I'm just going to start coloring in the circles that in the holes that I just made. The bruise wheel you can get on Amazon. It's by Miron, sorry. Now I'm adding a little bit more of that concealer that I used in the beginning, and I want to darken up uh, the areas where I put down the latex because I'm going to. It's better to do it that way only because when you start to add more color to it, you won't see as much white. It'll look at least fleshy. And now I'm going to use a brown color on the bruise wheel, and I'm going to start to mix that in with the concealer that I placed on my face. To start to make it more skin color like, and then I'm going to just stipple that with a makeup sponge to try to mix those two colors together. Because even though I made my skin pale, I still want to make it look as if this is more 3D um, by mixing those two colors together, so that the skin will look like it's peeling. So now I've done majority of it. I'm putting some more veins, adding some red, and now I'm going to add my blood. So this is where you're going to really start to see the wounds stand out with the blood. So I just pour a little bit in the cap, and I take a disposable applicator brush, and I just start to paint all the wounds. Now I'm going to take some gelled blood so I can have some gelatinous areas, some clots. I'm trying to make some clots. So I'll add some clots in the holes of it, and then I'll start to like drag the blood out of it. And that's pretty much it. Now it's time to change my eyes and do a little Photoshop, and then we're good to go. This is really easy. Took me about 30 minutes roughly. Um, to me, I feel like it's better to use inexpensive makeup when doing looks like this, but it's fun. Thanks for watching.